Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for the Tech Guy is provided by CacheFly. CacheFly.com. Hi, this is Leo Laporte, and this is my Tech Guy podcast. This show originally aired on the Premier Radio Networks on Saturday, December 14th, 2013. This is episode 1039. Enjoy. The Tech Guy podcast is brought to you by Stamps.com. Use Stamps.com to buy and print real U.S. postage the instant you need it right from your desk. For our special offer, go to Stamps.com, click the microphone, and enter Tech Guy. That's Stamps.com, offer code Tech Guy. And by Hulu Plus. Hulu Plus lets you binge on thousands of hit shows anytime, anywhere, on your TV, PC, smartphone, or tablet. Visit huluplus.com/twit to start your free 2-week trial. That's huluplus.com/twit. And by Gazelle, the fast and simple way to sell your used gadgets. Find out what your used iPhone, iPad, or other product is worth at gazelle.com. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the Tech Guy. And it's time to talk about computers and the internet, cell phones and camcorders, home theater, MP3 players, all that jazz. 8888 Ask Leo, that's the number. 888-827-5536, toll free from the U.S. and Canada. Outside the U.S. and Canada, just use Skype. It'll still be toll free. 8888 Ask Leo. Here we are, 11 shopping days. Well, I don't know. Wait a minute. Now, I have to think of how you count shopping days. Does Sunday count as a shopping day?
Oh, yeah. Probably the biggest shopping day.
Yeah, right? It used to be they'd say 11 shopping days as opposed to 11 days. But I think every day is a shopping day till Christmas.
Of course.
So 11 days till Christmas. That means 11 days to buy the geek gift for your loved one. I'm not going to... This would be an opportunity for me and certainly other radio hosts, but I'm not going to do it to sell this. The Leo Laporte bobblehead doll will be beloved under the holiday tree. But I'm not going to do it. Not going to do it. We made 250 of these.
That sounds like a good number.
Do you think we'll sell them? Or am I stuck with 250 Leo bobblehead dolls?
It can go to charity.
Yeah. I'm sure that's what those kids who put their, the little cards on the Christmas trees at the grocery store, those poor underprivileged kids, that's what they're looking for is a Leo Laporte bobblehead doll. No, I have other things we can talk about, for the holidays that are probably gifts that your geek does want. For instance, I just got my Slope. This is from a company called Dekke, DEKKE.net. They're about $50. I think they're having a sale right now. And what it is a cast aluminum iPad stand. It's got something on it called nano suction, nano foam. So it's a very sticky surface that you can pull stuff off and on of.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's like more sticky than a Post-it note, but it's just as temporary. It doesn't mar up the back of the thing. And then there's stick them on the bottom and stick them on the side. It looks a little bit like, it turns your iPad into what looks a little bit like an iMac, a beautiful little iMac. And I like these. I got a few of these for the holidays.
Could you put it on the dashboard of the car?
I wouldn't do that. But
I know,
guess
it seems like a bad idea, but if you stop quick, it would stay?
Yeah,
you could.
Sturdy? Yeah. Yeah, it would stay. Oh, you have to really pry to get this thing off of it.
Okay. So you could throw it up in front of a kid in a kid's car seat and put the
the
tank
sure.
engine,
I think there are other ways.
is.
There are other kinds of things to do that with. I have one that is a suction cup on the windshield. Some states that would be illegal. If you had a flat dash, that would work. But, it needs kind of a glassy surface. It works perfectly on the back of tablets and doesn't have to just be an iPad. They make a size suitable for the iPad mini with Retina, or actually any mini, and they make a size suitable for the iPad Air. I think this would be and it's small enough to fit in the stocking. I think that'd be good stocking stuff. For a little pricey. I think a lot of people just give iTunes or Amazon gift cards for the holidays, right?
Mm-hmm. It's turned into an exchange of money, basically, is what Christmas is.
Yeah, that's not a gift. It's not as much of a gift, is it? But I have teenage kids, well, 18 and 21-year-old, and you can't really know what they want. Abby, my 21-year-old, says, just give me makeup and jewelry. I don't know what that means for a 21-year-old woman.
I can help out there.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to get the assistance of another person with proper chromosomes to help me choose that. I know about geek gifts, though. Think about buying a gift for a geek. It's a risky proposition unless you know kind of a lot about the geek. Like, okay, smartphone. A lot of deals on smartphones right now. And I think, the smartphone is probably the gift for the early teenager, or any teenager. That's a good gift. Like if you have and it's a good gift for mom and dad, too, because you can use the smartphone to track your children. You can also call them, or they can call you if they need a ride. I think that's a nice thing. And now they've gotten fairly inexpensive. I would look, at some of the MVNOs, not the main carriers, the Sprints and Verizons and AT&Ts of the world, but maybe the T-Mobile, the Un-carrier, or Republic Wireless offers a Moto X, which I think is an excellent smartphone for, I think, $50, and then they have a $30 a month plan. So admittedly, it's an expensive gift. It's a gift that keeps on taking money out of your wallet, but I'll tell you, nowadays, having a kid without a phone makes it harder on mom and dad. So there are some very good deals out there. I like the Moto G, the Motorola G, which is an even less expensive version of the Motorola X. You won't find many deals on Apple stuff, including the iPhones. And that's what the kids, probably in many cases, that's what they want. They want an iPhone. Why? Because they want to Instagram and Snapchat and all that stuff, which you can do with any phone, but they want to do it with an iPhone. Instagram added direct messaging to their platform. So now pretty soon Instagram is going to, you'll be able to do anything with Instagram. Play chess, get recipes. I think I was talking with somebody about the idea of feature creep. Have you heard that term? It's a real problem in our industry, but I bet it's in a lot of industries. In order to sell a product, you have, at least in the computer industry and the technology industry, you have often magazines and online websites. Maybe now that the magazines are dying, you won't see this as much anymore. But they used to have these feature grids with checkboxes. And if you, heaven forfend that you were Norton antivirus and McAfee antivirus had more checkboxes than you. And it's, by the way, that's a perfect example because this antivirus has just got out of control. They got so big and bloated, they slowed your machine down without adding really anything you needed. Same thing with word processors, right? Of course, Microsoft won that war, so now it doesn't matter. But I think out of force of habit, and in order to get you to upgrade every few years, they add features no one wants to their word processor, just so that you need the new one. We call it feature creep. And it's a problem, I guess, with apps, too. Look at Instagram. I think that's feature creep. Instagram did one thing beautifully. Took a kind of a junky picture and turned it into something that looked like it was arty with filters, and by making it square. And everybody loved it. And then they add video. And now Facebook's done this with both Instagram, which it owns now, and the Facebook page. The videos autoplay. Now, no media should ever autoplay on a web page, right? You go to the web page and all of a sudden, that should never happen. I'm sorry, that's just bad. In fact, I would like to do it. We have if you go to twit.tv or techguylabs.com, techguylabs.com is the page for this show, and twit.tv is the overall page for all of our shows that I do. And I would love to have it just start playing. That would be great, but people would kill me. Well, now Instagram and Facebook autoplay video. And it's not for you, by the way. They're not doing this. This is not a feature they're adding so you'll be happy. It's a feature they're adding so advertisers will be happy, so that they could put 15-second video ads into your Instagram stream. They haven't done it yet, but just watch. Just watch. There will be 15-second ads on both Facebook, video ads. Of course, that raises an interesting point. As much as we don't like that, I've got ads on this show. All my shows have ads. That's how we pay for stuff. Stuff is free. You have a choice. You could pay for software, or you can get it for free. And Instagram's free, Facebook's for free, and I think we all would agree you get a lot of benefit from both. So they have a right to advertise. But here's the risk. When the ads get really annoying, what do people do? They find ways to block them. And then you get no revenue. That's what people do now. They'd use blockers on their browsers. And I think the ad industry brought it on themselves by making them so obnoxious. I feel like it's a little unethical, though, not to see the ad because you're using the service. If you really didn't like the ad, just stop using the service. Right? 88. What do you think? 8888 Ask Leo. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888 Ask Leo's the number. Heather Hammond, the phone ranger, will be answering your call, redirecting you. She has a switchboard. She has plugs. She goes, one ringing dingy, two ringing dingy, plugs them in, and forwards the call over to me. I wish we had a big switchboard like that. Wouldn't that be fun? Where you I'm connecting you to your party. But we're a little more digital than that.
I would love that.
It'd work better, I guarantee you. None of this computer stuff is reliable. It really is.
Yeah, I would feel better about the call going through if I actually had a plug.
Well, and Leo probably wouldn't screw it up so much because I keep pushing the wrong buttons and stuff. Who should I talk to here?
Let's go to poor Mona in L.A.
Poor
Tis
Mona.
the season to get...
Oh no. Hi, Mona. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hi, Leo.
Oh, no.
Yes, my iPad was removed, my iPad 3.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Thank you. Yes, I was very upset. And
How did it get removed? Were you at a coffee shop or somewhere? Or?
I was outside of a bank, and I think I set it down.
Oh.
And I think I left it unattended, and then I came back, and it was gone.
Sure. Yeah, it was rare that somebody's honest enough to say, anybody lose an iPad here? Anybody? Yeah.
Right, and I think I saw it for sale on Craigslist because it had a blue cover and...
Oh, no. Well, that's what happens.
Right, and we emailed them and texted them, and when we asked for the serial number, then all communication stopped.
They weren't going to talk to you.
Exactly.
Did you have the Find My iPhone stuff turned on so you could at least wipe it?
I did not.
Okay. That lesson learned. On all of these devices now, they have Android and iOS. They have a way to wipe the device should you lose it. Did you have a password on it?
I did not.
Yeah. Well, I hope you didn't have anything too private on there.
I had my whole life on there.
Oh.
Yes, I was. I know.
So really important, and this is not in any way casting a reflection on you, but just for future reference, if you take an iPad or a phone or any mobile device out of the house, they get lost, they get stolen. You absolutely should have a password on it, a pass key, and probably should have turned on an iPhone. You have the feature if somebody tries 10 times and to guess it and gets it wrong, it wipes it, and then you could turn on Find My iPhone. That's a free service, and it does two things. One, you can look on another device, on a web browser or another device, and say, where is it? And then if you can't find it, you can also wipe it, which is really probably a good thing if you've got your whole life on it. You'll lose, it's gone, but at least you don't lose your data. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Thank you. Yeah. It's very traumatic.
Oh, I bet it was.
But now I want to replace it, and I went to the Apple store, and they don't have. The only thing they have is iPad 2s and iPad Airs. They don't have it. They don't even carry the 3s.
Oh yeah, the 3 and 4 were discontinued.
Right.
So they introduced new iPads, and they keep the 2s just so they have a very, very low-cost choice, which I don't recommend.
Right. So my only choice really is the iPad Air, which is about $750.
Yeah.
What other choice is there?
Welcome to the wonderful world of Apple. Well, that's what it is. That's how much it costs. You can go on the Apple store online. Sometimes they have refurbed units, which are fine to get from Apple. If you get a refurb unit from the original manufacturer, it's a late model device, and it's got the full warranty. I think that's a safe thing to do. Often these are just devices that were sold but never used, and they can't sell them as new anymore. If you Google refurb and Apple, you'll find the Apple refurb store. And refurb short for refurbished, I should probably say that. And sometimes they have iPads on there. Not a lot, occasionally. You can go on Craigslist and buy somebody else's stolen iPad.
Right. Well, I've seen them actually. They say they're in the box, never open. But how do you know it hasn't been dropped?
People get ripped. I don't recommend it. It's it's risky because you're trusting the person you're selling it, and as you can see, those people aren't always trustworthy.
Well, the police told me that most of the iPads on Craigslist are stolen.
Yeah, I would guess that's the. Well, the police are wrong on that. A lot of people I know sell used iPads on eBay or Craigslist. If for instance, if you get a new iPad and you want to sell the old one, it's not at all uncommon to put it on Craigslist. Or I've sold used furniture and all sorts of used stuff on Craigslist. That's not strictly true, but they're probably right that that's maybe where most of the stolen iPads end up.
Right.
The other way around. But I wouldn't say. But again, you don't know, right? And I think it's just risky. What's your budget? What would you like?
Like $600.
And what do you use it for?
I use it for email and surfing the net and office.
Office.
Do
you use? And it sounds like you're using the 3G on it, right? You're getting a 3G version.
I think the one I had was 4G.
Right, but you're using the wireless data.
Yes. Yeah.
I would also consider. I know you have. You used an. Look at Apple. There's nobody else sells Apple stuff. Apple sets the price. That's it. So if that's too much for you, the other choice would be to look at an Android device. The Galaxy tabs are fabulous devices. Will do everything an iPad did. It's a little different. You'll have to get used to some of the differences. But all of the things you just described work fine on another tablet from another company, and they're cheaper.
Well, one thing is my vision is not that great, and with the iPad, I could really make the print very large. I don't know if you can do that on the.
You could do that on any device now. Yeah.
Okay.
I would check at least the Apple site for refurbed iPads. James DeRuvo, our guy who takes our notes, has put a link in the show notes at techguylabs.com. And these are Apple certified refurbished. That usually means sold, but not used. Here's an iPad mini. You don't want a mini, though. You want a larger one.
Yeah, I want the larger one.
Here's a 4th generation for $379. There's some more choices here. A lot of minis. iPad with Retina display, Wi-Fi, 32 gigs, 4th generation, $449. That's a very good price. I'd try that out. I'd go to the since you're used to the iPad, you've got it working and all that.
Right. Yeah. And where were you just finding that?
This is on the Apple Store, store.apple.com. They have a certified refurbished section. And we'll put the links at our website if you want to just follow that at techguylabs.com. Otherwise, you can Google Apple refurbished iPads and make sure you buy them from Apple. But if you're buying them from Apple, they're fine. They're safe. They have the full warranty. And they're not bad. The prices are pretty good, and that's the last place you can still get for instance, 4th generation iPad. Apple stopped selling them.
And is the iPad Air worth the money? Is it that?
It's just great? A new one. It's not more than your iPad was. Same functionality when you bought it. It's the same price. They haven't raised the price.
Right. But when I already paid $850
but you already did it. I understand.
Then I'm paying.
But Apple doesn't care. I understand.
Right. It gets to be expensive.
Yeah. No. Hey, believe me, I understand that part. But the Air is just the latest version. I like the Air because it's very light. But I think if you liked your 3rd generation, the 4th generation, I think would be a very good choice for you. Faster. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Yeah, how do you refurb an iPad? Nobody's going to have big deals on iPads. Apple keeps very tight control of the supply chain. So you can get it at Toys R Us. It's going to be the same price, I promise you. Maybe $50 less at most. Our show today brought to you by our friends at Stamps.com. Why go to the post office this holiday season? That's when everybody else is going to the post office this holiday season. You might want to save time if you do mailing professionally. You do it in your business. You send out, mailers or invoices or whatever. You got to try Stamps.com. You never have to get up from your desk. There's a certain advantage to that. Stamps.com with a USB scale. You plop the Where's my scale? Who stole my? It's taking my scale away. I had it right here a minute ago. That's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's just very popular, this USB scale. You plop the envelope or package on there. You know exactly what to pay. Stamps.com always uses the current rates. You don't have to worry about that. You don't need special ink. You don't need a postage meter. You just need your computer, your printer. You could print on an envelope. You could print stamps. There's my, you see, somebody borrowed it to plug it in to use it. Probably we were sending out our Christmas cards or something. This is a nice one. This is not the one. They have different kinds. This is not the one you get for free. The one you get for free is nice, but that's a better one. You could buy the better ones too. Where's my stamp scale? Anyway, that's not important right now. What's important is that you visit Stamps.com and you'll take a look at the special offer we've got for you. If you click the microphone in the upper right-hand corner and enter the offer code TECHGUY, you're going to get a $110 bonus offer. You will see a picture of me. If you see a picture of Charles Osgood, you made a mistake. Go back and start over. Tech Guy is the offer code. $110 bonus offer, $55 in free postage to use over the first few months of your Stamps.com account. Yes, you get the free USB scale. That's yours to keep, by the way. You just pay shipping and handling on it, which is about $5. A $5 supply kit to even that out, and a 4-week trial. Stamps.com. Don't go to the post office. Let the post office come to you. Right from your desk. Here's another scale. Yeah, this is the right one. See, this one's a good one. This is, you can go, they have a store where you can buy the special super duper USB scales. But you get this one, which is very nice. I use this one at home. This is great. Stamps.com. You know what I love about it? They'll come to you. There's even a button at Stamps.com that says, send the mail carrier over, and they'll make the pickup. Love it. Stamps.com. Make sure you use the offer code TECHGUY so they know where you heard about it. Scary bobblehead is here. Scary bobblehead.
I like it. I want one.
It's skinny. Well, let's see how many we sell. You may be getting one. We may turn into our holiday gift for our staff.
Oh, I definitely.
Congratulations.
I'll take one.
First prize, a Leo bobblehead. Second prize, 2 Leo bobbleheads.
Seems like we've lost control, but that's the way it goes.
Another day with Leo.
And then again, just watch your back. Oh, Johnny C, get us back on track, and if I feel a bit spunky.
The great Jeff Smith doing that song, I'm a Twit. Thank you, Jeff, out of Nashville, Tennessee. Really talented performer. And he wrote that song for our podcast network some years ago. Did a nice job. Hey, look who's here. Scott Wilkinson, our home theater geek, who has been mum all week because he saw The Hobbit last week.
I did.
And you were enjoined not to speak of it.
I'm afraid so. Yeah, not till this week.
First of all, tell us which of the 28 different versions did you see?
I ran into a guy from Technicolor who was working on the final, what's called digital cinema package, which is the data file with all the audio and video. He said, man, we got 200 different versions of that movie. With all the different languages and high frame rate and not high frame rate, 3D, not 3D. It was just there are a ton of different versions of it.
We should make it clear. You'll see the same movie, but just different formats of the same movie.
Exactly.
It's not like this. It doesn't have a different ending or anything.
Right. No, it's just different ways
high
to
frame
show
rate, surround sound, different kinds of surround sound.
Right. Dolby Atmos versus 5.1.
IMAX versus regular, 3D versus 2D, all of that.
Yep, exactly.
So what did you see?
I saw it in high frame rate 3D, in Dolby 3D, which uses a slightly different process than what most people see when they go out to a 3D movie. In that case, it's 3D. You have two different images, one for the right eye, one for the left eye, and they have to be isolated. So you have to wear glasses, and a lot of people object to that to begin with.
Yeah.
You don't like the glasses either. And most people see it in what's called Real D. And some people see it in IMAX 3D, and those both use a technique called polarization to isolate one image from the other. I saw it in a different format called Dolby 3D, which instead of using polarization, it's very interesting. It uses slightly different wavelengths of red, green, and blue for one eye versus the other eye. Huh. And you put on these glasses, and they filter out the one that's not supposed to go to each eye, right? So that lets you see it. The problem with it that I've experienced is that there's a lot of internal reflection between the 3D glasses and my prescription glasses. And so I see, little reflections. It's not good. It's not good. So I prefer Real D or IMAX 3D. But the real controversy about The Hobbit is this thing, we talked a little bit about it last week, called high frame rate.
Yeah, and I want to see it in high frame rate.
You should. You should.
We mentioned last week normal movies 24 frames per second, with film.
Correct. Film, right? Yeah. Which was chosen 100 years ago because it was the lowest frame rate that the studios could get away with, and still make it look like relatively smooth motion. Because film stock was expensive, and they wanted to conserve it, so they chose the lowest possible frame rate they could. Well, 100 years later, we're all very used to it. That's what it looks like. So Peter Jackson, who made The Hobbit, and James Cameron, who is working on Avatar 2 and probably beyond, have started to advocate for using a higher frame rate. Now we're in the digital era. It doesn't matter, what the frame rate is. It doesn't use up film. It's just using up hard drive space, and who cares about that? So Peter Jackson shot The Hobbit movies at 48 frames per second, twice the frame rate that we're all very used to. And what's the advantage of it? Well, mostly it's in terms of clearer motion. So camera pans across a scene, or something moves across the image, across the frame, and at 24 frames per second, that looks pretty blurry. But at 48 or 60 frames per second, it looks quite a bit sharper. However, it also looks kind of like video. It looks less like a movie, less like film, less like what everyone's used to. And so a lot of people object to that. They say, oh, it looks too real. It takes me out of the suspension of disbelief in some way. And so a lot of people object to it. The same that they object to the frame interpolation on LCD TVs. We've talked about that on the show quite a bit as well, where the TV itself interpolates, puts in new frames to make things go fast, to make things look sharper on the TV screen. Well, this isn't putting in extra frames that don't exist. This is actually new frames that do exist. So 48 frames per second, twice as many frames. Things look sharper, cleaner, crisper. A lot of people say it improves the look of 3D in particular. So I especially want you to go see it in high frame rate 3D to see if that changes your mind about 3D at all. It maybe moves the needle a little bit, or maybe not. I don't know. I'd love to hear what you have to say about it.
One of my big negatives on 3D is that, at least with Real D and the IMAX solution, it's dimmer because they're polarized. So it's effectively half as bright.
Or less than half as bright.
Or less. So I always feel like, who turned down the lights?
Yes, that is true. I was told the movie I saw, the version I saw, was actually the world premiere. They used 4 projectors.
Wow.
2 for each eye.
To make it brighter.
But even that, it was only half as bright. They told me. They said it was 7-foot Lamberts, whereas normally it's 14 with a 2D movie.
I also don't like the fact that a lot of movies use 3D as a gimmick, and so the stuff comes at you.
And unfortunately, Peter Jackson did that in The Hobbit. That was an artistic
problem. You make a 3D movie, you're going to have things flying at you. You're going to have snowflakes falling in your lap, and it just takes me out of the story.
I'm afraid it did me too.
I don't understand the value of it. Well, let me ask about high frame rate anyway. Did you like it?
I like it. I myself like it. I think it looks really good. In The Hobbit 2, the second one, the one that's just coming out now, it looks very much more consistent than in the first one. I saw the first one in high frame rate as well, and I noticed very clearly that some scenes looked like they were shot for a PBS video special, and others didn't. And so it was this inconsistency that really took me out of the story. But The Hobbit 2, they've improved the technique quite a bit, and it looks a lot more consistent, a lot more the same from scene to scene throughout the movie. So they really improved things quite a bit. And I myself like it. I'm running a poll on avsforum.com that asks, do you like the look of high frame rate, or HFR as it's abbreviated? And so I encourage people, if you've seen it, to go and vote in that poll. There's a poll an item in the poll that says I have never seen it before, so you can vote there too. But you can see what people are saying about how much they either really like it or really hate it.
Right.
So
you liked it though, and it was more. You felt it was more consistent.
Yep.
And worth seeing. Although again, with the 3D, you got stuff flying at you.
Yeah, I didn't like that particularly. And there were even some scenes that didn't even have much 3D in them. It was like the Gandalf or whoever was in the foreground and sharply in focus, and then the background was just blurry and out of focus. It was a short depth of field, but I actually took my glasses off a couple times and said, hey, wait a minute.
That's not 3D.
They're not even doing 3D.
Right.
It wasn't consistent.
That's very strange.
It's very strange. He shot the movie with 2 red Epic cameras at 4K. By the way, I saw it at 4K resolution as well on a 60-foot wide screen. And I was
Is that in common? Can you find a theater that does that?
Yes, you can. Yeah, absolutely.
That's tempting.
There are projectors, Christie projectors in particular now, that have 4K resolution, 4096 across.
They don't advertise this on the front of the theater, unfortunately.
No, they don't. It's harder to find that than it is to find an HFR, high frame rate version. Yeah. All you go to for that is go to hfrmovies.com, and they have a list of all the high frame rate movies in the country that are showing The Hobbit at that high frame rate. And if you've never seen it before, I do recommend that you go check it out to see if that's something you like or don't like.
Scott Wilkinson, he hosts our Home Theater Geeks podcast every Monday on the Twit Network, and of course is at AVS Forum, where he is the editor-in-chief. Thank you, Scott.
You bet.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Terry, it's my pleasure.
Let me let you continue on while I wander the building in search of my pants.
Jared 555, would you recommend HFR or Dolby Atmos for someone who can't see 3D? Well, if you can't see 3D, then and you don't, and going to a 3D presentation doesn't work for you for some reason, you're not going to see high frame rate, because that's the only high frame rate is only being used on the 3D presentations. So I doubt that Dolby Atmos sound will be available in anything but 3D anyway. Might not be high frame rate. They'll do 3D without high frame rate, but they won't do high frame rate without 3D. It works one way and not the other. So anyway, I would say Dolby Atmos, definitely. It's a wonderful Atmos mix with stuff happening all around you and overhead and everything. So if you can't see 3D, you're not going to really benefit from high frame rate. But if you can find a Dolby Atmos theater in 2D, then yeah, absolutely go see that. I'm not sure you're going to be able to do that, though. Mike NB, have I tried going directly to the modem as a test? Yes. In fact, one of my latest podcasts was the computer connected directly to the modem, and that did seem to work. But it didn't work at 2 p.m., whereas it did work at 6 p.m. So there is a time of day component as well. Santa Claus is not noticing any problems with my feed. Okay, but certainly, if they did up there at the studio. Indie Mech, go to the studio and do the show. Well, yeah, I'd love to do that, and I will on the December 30th podcast, the last podcast of the year. I'll be already. Yep. Here we go.
Thank you. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy, 8888. Ask Leo. That's the number. I should have been a rapper. I think I missed my my calling. I would have been a good rapper. The geek rapper.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
So you think you have some rhyming skills? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah. Yeah. I can.
Up in the twit, rhymes with.
Yeah, just like that. Right. Good. John in San Diego, Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy.
Hey, good morning, Leo.
Good morning, John.
Hey, first I want to say thank you so much. I called in a few years ago, and you told me to put on my website Google AdSense to monetize the site a little bit.
Yeah.
I did that.
Yeah.
And a few years later, a NASDAQ-listed company came in and bought me out.
Ah, that's awesome.
Yeah, and it was a result of the multiple of the AdSense revenue. So
Right.
I would have never even thought of that had I not called you.
You would have had no revenue, which would have made you infinitely valuable, by the way. Turns out, I mean, you look at the big acquisitions, $3 billion offered and refused for Snapchat, $1 billion for Instagram. The reason those numbers were so high is because they had no revenue. So there was no multiple of revenue. Had they had, maybe they made $100 million in a year and they would get a 5x multiple of revenue, they'd only been worth $500 million. So it's good. It's good to have. I think in your case it's good, and you're happy with the purchase and everything. Did you have to continue to work for the blog?
Yes, I did. It was a website, and I continued to work for them for a while.
So you got a job out of it, and that's great.
Yeah. So thank you very much for that.
You're very welcome.
I have to give you a tip. I just purchased the coolest gadget ever.
Oh, good. What is that?
I'm a gadget junkie. It's made by a company called DJI. It's a Phantom Vision. It's a quadcopter with an integrated camera on it.
We have one. We love it. Isn't that awesome?
Yes, it is.
Which did you get the new one? Because ours.
I got the new one.
Yeah.
The new one's the Vision 2 or the Phantom 2.
Better battery life. Yeah.
Yes, 25 minutes.
Yeah, we only get 15. This is an amazing thing, and a lot of people probably have seen kind of the idea of these quadcopters, but when you put a camera on it, you get amazing footage. So what are you shooting footage of, John?
Well, I've only had it a few days, and I've taken pictures of out on a ranch chasing my nephew who's on a horseback around, and then also chasing my little nephew who's running through the fields. You can really get movie-like quality by just flying, let's say, 10 feet above the heads of people.
Right.
I took some photos of a multi-million-dollar estate there in North Texas.
Did they know that you were taking photos?
Yeah, they did. The only problem with this is that you'll get in trouble with the FAA if you hold yourself out as a commercial operator.
Right.
So you can't do that.
Right.
So you can't do that.
Just do it. It's a hobby.
Come in
and they're not expensive. What it was about $700? How much was it?
Well, here's the cool thing, Leo. You can get the best place to get them is B&H. They've got the cheapest prices and free shipping.
Yep.
So BNHphoto.com.
Yep.
$1,200.
Oh, ow. Ooh.
Yeah, but here's the thing, Leo, as I tell my other tech friends, is that it's great because if you do get it, you're one of the few people that will pay that much money. So it weeds out all the 16-year-olds who would plop down $200 for one.
No, that's true. And eventually they'll be getting them for that. There are a number of companies. The first ones I saw were the Parrot AR drones. These are quadcopters. They are using computer technology to make sure that they are very smooth. They hover. You control them with an iPhone or a smartphone, so you could see the image the camera's getting. And because it's so smooth, it really does give you amazing footage. Are you putting a GoPro on it? What do you use on it?
No, that's the magic of it, Leo. I didn't have to buy a GoPro. It's got an integrated GoPro-like camera
that's
that
new.
can swivel up and down on the vertical axis. And it really makes you look like you have your own Robinson or Bell helicopter in your backyard.
It's a great toy, isn't it?
I have a quick question for you, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
I've got a blog that I do. It's very heavily trafficked, and I just added a newsletter to it on the right-hand side. But out of 500 to 1,000 unique IPs I get every day, I get maybe one sign-up every other month. And I've been using Aweber. I don't know if you've heard of them.
Wow.
And
I don't know them. No.
Do you have anybody you can recommend for
newsletters?
The autoresponder? Yeah, I just don't understand that technology very well.
Usually I recommend either Constant Contact or MailChimp. MailChimp, I think, for a smaller newsletter offers free for a certain number. And these guys are better at this than you would be doing a newsletter. But, I think if you're not getting many signups, the reason you're not getting many signups has more to do with you than the newsletter company. So I would start making more interesting content. I mean, it's really a vote. It's a referendum on you. I presume you're tying it to the website. We have some footage. I was just looking to see. We have some footage from our quadcopter because John Slanina, my studio manager, talked me into buying this. He didn't mention that it was over $1,000. But we have used it for some shoots, and the reason we use it for shoots is because you can get these great aerial shots, and they're so smooth, they're so amazing. I just really like it. So great tip on that. That's the one he mentioned. is the DJI Phantom copter, and you can get the Phantom. He says at B&H. We've had a lot of fun with it. These are very similar to the drones that Amazon was thinking of, or it showed Charlie Rose on 60 Minutes that Amazon is thinking of using for delivery. That would be something to have a drone. I don't know how well that'll work. How safe? The Amazon ones are what we call autonomous. They fly themselves, which is interesting. These DJI Phantom copters, you fly, but they're fun to fly. It's like any RC vehicle. They're fun to fly. And yeah, MailChimp. A lot of people in the chat room say MailChimp is great. I think the real key to getting signups, of course, is you. You can't blame them for that. Put it on the webpage, flog it. You know what would be a great one to if you want to get a book that'll help you with this? It's my friend Gary Vaynerchuk, and he's been all around flogging this. This guy is the king of marketing. His newest book is called, is it Punch Punch Jab? Something like that. I should remember. He's been flogging it like crazy. He's been in every TV show. I'm sorry. Jab, 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 right hook. Pardon me. Jab, jab. It's a different boxing issue. Jab, 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 right hook from Gary Vaynerchuk. And it's really about using social media to market things like your newsletter or your product. And it's very good. I think this guy is the king of social marketing. So probably that's a good one. Yeah, it's not. I don't think it's your provider. I think it's what you offer that makes it successful or not. We'll be back in just a little bit. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Stay tuned.
Lovely.
All yours, my friend.
Lovely.
Thank you.
Thank you so very much. I'm getting a lot of great comments and suggestions about the internet or the Skype problem, which, I haven't contacted Charter yet, but I will because I think that
Charter.
might be.
Yeah. Contacting them is not going to be that useful.
That may very well be.
Yeah.
Jared 555 is going to try and go and see the HFR version of The Hobbit, even though he's blind in one eye. And HFR, high frame rate, is only available with the 3D presentation. There, if you go to a 2D presentation,
you can still see it. It'd just be 2D. You're a one eye.
Yeah, exactly. So I would be quite curious to see what he thinks about it, since it'll be more or less in 2D for him, but still at the high frame rate. So sharper motion, possibly a more video look to it. A lot of people say that the high frame rate, the biggest advantage of it is for 3D, that it actually makes the 3D better. More cohesive, more integrated. So it'll be very interesting to see if someone who only can see out of one eye finds benefit in high frame rate or not. It's very good. So I look forward to that report, Jared 555. So let's see. We've had enough about my Skype problems. If anybody else has any other questions, I'm very happy to answer them. I went back to, let's see. Yeah, everybody is talking about that. Oh, Midnight Rider asked, where did I see the movie? I saw the movie at the Dolby Theater, which is actually the place where they do the Oscars. And it's not a movie theater. They have a screen there, but it's not designed as a movie theater. So the acoustics aren't ideal for movies. And I actually had some problems with dialogue intelligibility. I didn't understand everything they were saying. And I think that was probably due, at least in part, to the fact that I was in the Dolby Theater, which is not a movie theater. I noticed that particularly it was a problem when music was mixed into the front channels. They seemed to be competing with each other. And so that was another problem. But that's not a problem with the theater. It's a problem with the way they mixed it. And it could very well be that people who go to see it in the theater won't have that problem because it's a different digital cinema package, or DCP, that they're seeing. What we saw was one that had been created especially for the premiere down in New Zealand. And Technicolor, I think I mentioned, ran into a guy from Technicolor the next evening, and he said, oh yeah, we're working feverishly to get this DCP ready for the commercial release, so it'll be different. Another very interesting thing he said, while we're working on the DCP, we have people who work at Technicolor who are working on it who have seen the high frame rate version like 100 times. They have to watch it over and over and over again to make sure that everything's working well. And he said those people who have seen high frame rates so often can no longer tolerate 24 frames per second. It just looks terrible to them, he said. So there is an element of what you're used to, right? And all of us are so used to 24 frames per second that seeing it at 48 just looks weird, just looks different. And some people just don't like different. So if that's the case, okay, fine. But I myself really like it. And on the poll on AVS Forum, I believe the people who like it are currently outnumbering the people who don't. I haven't checked in the last hour, so it might have changed. But this whole issue of high frame rate is really quite an important one, because it could be pointing the way towards the future of movies. I don't think, it could end up being kind of like 3D. I mean, a lot of people like 3D and a lot of people hate it. The same thing is happening here. So we're getting a split, really, of people who do and people who don't. We really need to get more movies in high frame rate to see if it can become a successful alternative to 24 frames, which is why I'm recommending that people who have never seen it before make an effort to go see it in high frame rate, because the more people who do, then we can get a sense of, is it really something that people are going to like ultimately or not? So that is what I would like to say about that. Let's see here. Yeah, you know what? I've scrolled away so far from the current reality. Okay, we're not ready there. Santa Claus, is this new that a movie has more than one version when being released in theaters? No, it's not new at all. That happens all the time. There's a 3D version, there's a non-3D version, there's an IMAX version, and then there's all the different languages, and they have to strip in the dubbed dialogue for all the different languages. So that's not so much in the United States. So in the United States, big movies will be 3D, non-3D, Real D 3D, IMAX 3D, maybe Dolby 3D, but there aren't very many Dolby 3D theaters in the United States. So then there's Atmos, and there's 5.1 or 7.1. There might, and here we go.
Thank you, Scotty.
My pleasure.
See ya.
See you later.
Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. Time to talk about computers and the internet, home theater, smartphones, anything with a chip in it. Technology's the topic at 8888. Ask Leo, 888-827-5536. That's toll free from anywhere in the U.S. and Canada. Otherwise, use Skype. Our website, techguylabs.com. And if you go there, you'll be able to get into our chat room, too, which is, frankly, a great way to do the home version of the Tech Guy Show. The chat room is kind of my brains externalized. I often call on them for answers, and I have a feeling I'm going to ask for an answer from the chat room on this next one. So listen up, chat room. We've got Leslie on the line from Los Angeles. Hi, Leslie.
Hi, Leo. You really reach celebrity when you get a bobblehead.
Even if you have to make it yourself, right?
Yeah, even if it's so stardom. And I loved your Lily Tomlin impression.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. I'm looking for a camera from like $200 to $300 that has Wi-Fi, like 1080 video. A decent megapixel. I'm not really sure what the difference is.
Yeah,
between
megapixel
12
is
and 15.
used to be the kind of rule of thumb, but it's really not a very good rule of thumb for the quality of a camera. There's so much else like lenses, software, all of that makes a big difference.
Yeah.
Almost everything is 1080p now. That's the high def video, and that's killed the camcorder market. Frankly, is that your point and shoot now does excellent video as well as excellent stills. And how compact does it need to be?
Compact, it's for my boyfriend, and he's not an expert. Just to take, on vacations or different places, just to take pictures. More amateur. Yeah.
And does he need things like ruggedness underwater, stuff like that?
I don't think so. No.
Now, I really love the Canon Power Shots, and they're very compact. They the one thing that Canon has done is made them so that they're almost like little bars of soap that just slide in your pocket.
Great.
Yeah, they're really in your price range. The S110, for instance, is super good quality, excellent. For a point and shoot. Now, I have to say that a lot of times a point and shoot isn't going to give you as good a quality as, say, something a little bit bigger. But if you want compactness, there's nothing. These ELPs, they call them, ELPH. There's nothing more compact. These are 12 megapixels. It's got a nice big 3-inch LCD on the back. One thing people give up on cameras like this is there's no rangefinder. You sight the shot on the LCD on the back. And that's actually better in some ways because you get a 3-inch image. You're going to see really what that camera's getting. The negative on it is that in bright sunlight, sometimes it's a little bit hard to see. You have to cup the camera.
Mm-hmm.
The list. Go ahead.
If I were to go with something that wasn't a point and shoot, that was a little more complex, is there still something in that price range?
Not in that price range. You're going to start for them at least $400 for.
Gotcha.
But I think this is anybody gets this under the tree is going to love it. The PowerShot S110 is the latest version of this camera. Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome, and that's a chat room recommendation. Although I've loved the ELFs since the beginning, and I had an S90, then an S100, and then the latest is the S110. They're very, very good. Very, very good. I think, though, the future with cameras is now moving towards these mirrorless at DSLRs. They're getting less expensive, more compact. DSLR stands for Digital Single Lens Reflex. The idea of an SLR is they do have a rangefinder that you look through. And in the traditional SLRs, they're optically using mirrors. That rangefinder's looking through the front of the camera, through the actual lens. So you're seeing exactly what the lens is seeing. And for pros, they want that. The problem is the mirror and the mechanism used to snap the mirror out of the way so the picture can be taken are complicated, expensive, and bulky. So a number of companies, Sony most recently, have eliminated mirrors and use instead a little tiny video camera instead of the mirror. So when you look through the rangefinder, you're actually looking at video of what the lens is seeing. You're still seeing what the lens is seeing, but it's in video. Sony just released their A7 series. Their NEX is amazing too. Both of these are mirrorless and really fabulous. I use an Olympus OMD. These are that one is what they call micro four thirds, which is a fairly small sensor. Bigger sensor is better in general. Micro four thirds is much bigger than a point and shoot, but still less than the high-end full-frame sensors. So a lot of good choices out there now, and the prices are dropping rapidly. Digital photography is one area, I guess kind of like computers, where we've seen incredibly fast, very fast-paced improvements. And your camera phone now is as good as many a digital camera from just a few years ago. Really great stuff. Now, she did say Wi-Fi. And this is Wi-Fi certified, which means you can't, but it's limited what you can do with this PowerShot. You can exchange images with another Wi-Fi enabled PowerShot. You can print from a Wi-Fi enabled printer. It has you can use GPS information from an appropriate device wirelessly. So it depends. When you say I want Wi-Fi on my camera, it kind of depends what you mean. Sony's cameras have Wi-Fi. But they require a special app on your computer or on your tablet or on your phone that sees the Wi-Fi. It's kind of it's kludgy. It's a little complicated. It's a little complicated. 8888 Ask Leo. Thank you, Leslie. Rick, and that's a good gift, by the way, for the holidays. Excellent gift for the holidays. Rick in Thielen, California. You're next. Hi, Rick. Oh, did I lose Rick? I did. Let's go to Bill in Pasadena. Hi, Bill.
Hi, how you doing, Leo?
I'm well.
Hey, over the weekend, I had somebody broke into my office and stole 3 out of 4 of our business computers.
Holy moly. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so I may be asking you for a job in the not too distant.
Oh, man.
And I'm not. I didn't have Carbonite because one of the computers, it's a Mac, but it was a non-Intel Mac, so it wouldn't work. So,
right.
And it was really kind of useless to whoever took it. They stole proprietary software, just stuff that
they don't care. They sell it on the street for 1/1000th of the face value.
And I gladly give them a few $100 if they just bring this stuff down.
Oh, I know.
Anyway, in any event, so I'm rebuilding, and I had, I'm not completely lost because I did have backups. They weren't 100% current, but I didn't lose completely everything. A buddy of mine kindly let me borrow, for as long as I need, a laptop.
Good.
It's a Mac laptop, but it's running Mavericks, and I'm finding a lot of my stuff isn't compatible with it. So I downloaded OpenOffice, and it wouldn't open. So I'm wondering, my Office program didn't work in it either because it was like an older version. So is there some type of an Office program that would work where what I need, what's really important for me is where they have the Avery label compatibility,
right.
where you type in what label you're using. That's really handy for me. So I'm trying to find something that, that I could use without having to go buy the other.
Unfortunately, the OpenOffice and its ilk, LibreOffice is the same, are based on Java, which is apparently causing some fits on Mavericks, which is the latest version of OS X. Now, that will be fixed, I'm sure.
They're going to fix OpenOffice?
Yeah. I mean, or LibreOffice, which is the one I usually use on the Mac. It's based on the same code base.
Yeah.
LIBRE.
I'm wondering, should I go back to like 10.6 or something? I mean,
well, does this guy mind if you roll back his computer?
Probably not, because when I give it back to him, he could probably just put Mavericks back on it. I mean, it's just strange. I mean, this is the first time I've used Mavericks, and I mean, there's no hard drive icon. Things are just like different.
Well, you could turn that on. It's because he's configured it differently. That's in the preference. That's in Finder preferences. You can turn the hard drive icon back on.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Most of the stuff in Mavericks is minor upgrades. There's a few odd things. I think there is a problem with all open offices because of the version of Java they're using. That may even have been fixed. I'll have to check and see. Let me talk about some Office alternatives. That's another way to go. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. The James Bond of tech. So, the phone ranger, Heather Hammond, raised an interesting point. I didn't realize I had used an unfamiliar colloquialism. Kludge. I listened to an audiobook of one of my favorite audiobooks of all time, George Gilder's Microcosm. And they use the word kludge quite a bit in it, except that the reader pronounced it kludge, which really annoyed the heck out of me. It's pronounced kludge, Kludge. It means like kind of a quick and dirty workaround, a kind of a messy solution to a problem. And but I didn't know where the word kludge came from.
Oh.
So, of course, actually, apparently, you can pronounce it kludge.
Uh-oh.
I'm seeing, according to Wikipedia, it can either rhyme with fudge or stooge, depending on your preference. I'd never heard it kludge, so all right, I'm going to give the reader a break on that one. According to the Oxford English Dictionary, the OED, which is the definitive source on all of this stuff, it came from an article in Datamation magazine in 1962. A guy named Jackson W. Granholm, 1962, he wrote an article called How to Design a Kludge. And he called it an ill-assorted collection of poorly matching parts forming a distressing whole, especially in computing, a machine system or program that has been improvised or bodged together, a hastily improvised and poorly thought out solution to a fault or bug. It comes up a lot in technology. A lot of technology is a kludge. However, we have better than a kludge for our last caller. He upgraded, or sad to say, he lost his computers were stolen from his business. A friend lent him a more modern Macintosh running the current version of OS X, Mavericks, terrible name, named after a surfing beach in Santa Cruz that I grew up on, but still a terrible name. He was using OpenOffice. He needs an Office suite that will do Avery labels. One good solution would be to pay for Office 365. It's month to month. I don't remember what I pay, but it's not expensive. I think maybe at most $30 a month. And you get Microsoft Office, the full version, Macintosh and all of that. But if he was using OpenOffice, which is a free open source version. I prefer OpenOffice's brother, LibreOffice, based on the same code base. It's a free Office suite, very good, and it does work on Mavericks. Our chat room, somebody in the chat room says, I've been using LibreOffice on Mavericks for some time. The current version, 4.1, works fine. So that's a really good choice. In fact, anybody who doesn't want to buy Microsoft Office or, if you get a new Mac, you get iWork, which is Apple's response to Microsoft Office. Pages is their word processor, and probably does do Avery labels, I would guess. But LibreOffice will for sure do everything OpenOffice does and better and more. And it works just fine on Mavericks. So that would be my recommendation. Or, Microsoft's made Office very affordable. I think the subscription is probably a pretty good idea. Hey, we got Rick back. Sorry, Rick, about dropping you off. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hi, Leo. How you doing today?
My pleasure. Thank you.
I thought my cell phone quit on me after I was waiting.
No, I think it was me, and I apologize, but we got you back.
That's all right. That's the worst thing that happens to me today. I'm doing good.
That's the attitude.
I have an old XP it's from Dell that I've been running for probably 8-9 years.
Yeah.
And she's getting old and tired. I'm looking at buying a new desktop. I have a budget of about $500. And I'm looking on Dell's site and stuff, and I'm looking at Windows 7 versus Windows 8. I've heard you speak on that, and I know that I believe you said you're not a real fan of Windows 8.
I am not. On the other hand, it is the current version of Windows. Microsoft has decreed that no one can sell Windows 7 in a box anymore, but you can still get it from companies like Dell for a little while longer, perhaps as long as a year.
Right, and I'm looking at one. I got it up in front of me right now.
I think Windows 7 is the best version of Windows ever. Microsoft has decided they want to move us to a tablet interface, with big tiles that you can hit with your finger. And so Windows 8 is really designed for touch. It is a hybrid between a desktop and a tablet operating system, and because it's a hybrid, I think it's a little confusing. So yeah, if you can get a Windows 7 system and you're comfortable with it, go ahead and do it. It's certainly a lot better than XP.
Yeah, well, XP's been great. It's just, it's old and tired.
Yeah, in fact, it's not being updated anymore. Microsoft stopped updating it, or will stop updating it in March, and that means you will be vulnerable to a lot of security issues starting in the spring. So now's the time to upgrade.
Yeah, that was the next question I had for you, if I could. As far as security systems, I've been using AVG for years, and it's been pretty good. I haven't had any real issues with it. I also use a product called Spyware Doctor. I
would not install either of those on your new system.
Okay.
Microsoft offers, since you want free, I presume you're using the free versions of those. Microsoft offers a free antivirus called Security Essentials at Microsoft.com/Security Essentials. Very good.
Right, and I know
that's one advantage Windows 8 has. It comes with all of this on it.
Right, but I can get that through to Microsoft.
Yeah, it's free from Microsoft. It's not the world's greatest. It's at least as good as the free versions of AVG or Avast. I'm not a fan, frankly, of either of those, but I think Security Essentials is fine. Really, nowadays, the antivirus is only a backup to your behavior, because you can bypass an antivirus easily with a lot of these viruses out there.
Right.
So really, it's about you not clicking links in email, not downloading files, and things like that.
Well, yeah, certain emails I know better than to open up. I've made that mistake before.
Yeah.
We learn that the hard way.
You learn, don't you? Yeah. So it's a good idea to have as a backup. And since Microsoft offers this for free, they keep it up to date. I think Security Essentials is fine. And it does spyware as well as malware, so you don't have to worry.
Okay, perfect. Now, the other thing I have is backup. Basically what I use is I have My Passport that I do all my backup on files. I'm primarily just doing, I got QuickBooks for my business, and I got, just Word docs, Excel.
Yeah, but boy, if you've got your business on that hard drive, you heard that guy who lost his computers, last caller.
Right.
Back that stuff up.
Right, but I back it up onto on a separate hard drive that's separate from the machine itself. Is that good enough or what?
Well, it's good enough as long as first of all you have 2 copies, right?
I have a copy on my main computer.
Yeah.
I have a copy on my pad.
Don't delete one of those copies and think you still have a backup.
Oh no.
Yeah, a backup is 2 or more copies.
Right, I have it on a flash drive as well.
Yeah, good. That's 3 copies, and that's so. I use my friend Peter Croak. He was actually on the show last week's 3-2-1 backup strategy. 3 copies of everything, 2 different forms of media. You've answered both of those, but the third, the one is one of them should be off-site, and the reason is, what if the business burns to the ground? I know you don't want to think about that, but your backups would go too.
Yeah.
So I would have a copy. Maybe take that thumb drive home. I'd have a copy off-site.
Yeah, no, that's a good idea. I could stick one in my truck,
I would totally do that. Remember, backup planning is planning for the worst.
Right. No, I get that. Yeah.
It's not, we don't want to think about it. So I'm just pulling out of my drawer here. I have a hard drive here. This is all my photos that I've ever taken, all my digital photos. I make a copy on an external hard drive and I bring it to work.
Right. Yeah,
so,
my work is in my house, so I'm home.
Yeah, so put it in your truck. My friend Steve Gibson mails DVDs to his mom. We've got us, you've heard me talk about our sponsor Carbonite, same thing. That upload to the cloud. All of those are solutions that are very important. You got to have offsite. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Yeah, it was very telling because Microsoft, remember I talked about this last week. Microsoft released, did a press release saying we're going to stop selling Windows 7 in boxes in stores as of October 31st, 2013, Halloween. And the press release said, and you will no longer be able to buy Windows 7 on a machine from an OEM, from people like Dell, October 31st, 2014, next year. And they backed down already. They said, that was a typo. We didn't. No, forget we said that. And mostly I think they don't want to box themselves into a corner. They're going to wait and see if people still buy machines from Dell. I think all the OEMs said, whoa, we still sell a lot of Windows 7 machines. You better not set an end of life date for Windows 7. So you're right. I mean, I think a lot of businesses want to buy Windows 7 still, and I don't know if that'll end sometime in the next year. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Actually, my friends Mary Jo Foley and Paul Thurrott, who are the Windows experts. Mary Jo Foley writes for ZDNet, all about Microsoft.com. Paul runs the super site for Windows, winsupersite.com. And we do a podcast, the Windows Weekly podcast together. We talk about Windows every week. And Mary Jo's been reporting on the next version of Microsoft Windows. Yeah, there's a next version. There always is a next version, right? This stuff takes years to create. They usually start the next version of Windows before they start selling the current version of Windows. They're calling it Threshold, which might be a little telling. I don't know the threshold of what. But here's the really interesting thing, and both Paul and Mary Jo have heard this from multiple reliable sources inside Microsoft. The next version of Windows will have a start menu. The menu is back, and I think this is an admission by Microsoft that the Windows 8 tile system just did not fly. People don't like it. And I believe there was a very vocal faction inside of Microsoft. This is just my belief. I don't have evidence for this. That said, no, look, the future of computing is moving away from computers, is moving towards tablets. We need to be ready with a tablet version of Windows. We need to get people to move. We need to get, most importantly, developers to move, to start doing developer versions, tablet versions of their software. Interestingly enough, Microsoft still doesn't have a tablet version of its big product, Microsoft Office, but it's working as fast as it can. And I think there's a large faction inside Microsoft that just wanted to kill the desktop entirely and just go all tile, all Metro. They called it Metro, the modern UI. Tile world, my friend David Pogue calls it. And I think that's kind of that faction was winning at Microsoft. That's where they were going. And one of the things that faction said is, we're never going to get people to go there unless we force them to. We're going to kill the start menu. We're going to kill it dead. And you're going to go to the tile world front page, with the flashing tiles. And that's that's the new menu on Windows. No other choice. And they tried that with Windows 8, and there was such a hoorah. They said, all right, well, okay. I mean, I think that was like torches and pitchforks at the gates. People were saying, bring back our start menu. So they said, well, we'll bring you back the start button. It won't pull up a menu, but at least you have a button, and it'll take you to the tile world. And I think that this did not appease the peasants, those of us who use Windows, and they said, no, bring back the start menu. And Microsoft apparently has said, okay. But when, we don't know. Threshold is probably 2015. The question Paul and Mary Jo asked is, well, do you think that given that they're going to bring it back, they'll bring it back sooner? There'll be an update to Windows 8.1 that will bring back the start menu? It's so funny because I was one of the people at the gate with the pitchforks and the torches saying, bring back our start menu. But now that they're doing it, I'm kind of disappointed because, frankly, it's Microsoft taking a step backwards and saying, okay, well, maybe we moved too fast. It's very tough to do what they're trying to do. Meanwhile, the CEO of Microsoft, Steve Ballmer, has said, I'm retiring. I'm out of here. I can't handle it. I can't run this company anymore. We need somebody who is younger and can help us move into this new future of Microsoft. They call it devices and services. That's what Microsoft's going to start selling. Not operating systems, not Offices, devices and services. And I think they're having a hard time finding somebody to take his place. The names of candidates have come and gone and come and gone. People have said, I don't want it. It's challenging. It's really challenging. Mary Jo Foley did have a very interesting interview with outgoing CEO Steve Ballmer at Microsoft. I thought, fascinating. That's on Fortune's website and Fortune magazine, and then I think she's going to do more at her blog, allaboutmicrosoft.com. It's important. It's important. I mean, as somebody in our chat room, 3216 in our chat room says, 500 million people run Windows. It's the number one operating system by a long shot. So it's important. But boy, it just feels like Microsoft's letting it fumble through their fingers. They're in the end zone. The ball's coming their way, and they can't hold on to it. E-Men7 in the chat room says, Steve Ballmer's bringing up his finish menu. I'm finished. Forget start. Over menu. 8888 ask Leo. That's the number. Frank's in Vancouver, Washington, our next caller. Hi, Frank.
Hi, Leo. Called you a couple months ago about getting a Nexus 7, the Verizon issue, and I ended up getting one and going with AT&T, and it works great.
Good.
I love it.
Good. Yeah, Verizon still has not approved the Nexus 7.
Yeah, I've given up on them. Anyways, one of the great features of this, it has a tethering hotspot function.
Yeah.
Used it. It came with the Jelly Bean 4.3, but I've upgraded to this KitKat 4.4, and the tethering menu function disappears.
What?
It disappears.
You go to KitKat and it's gone.
It's gone off the menu. What's interesting is there's other people who've had
Is hotspot still there?
No, the hotspot tethering function
That's
in the
all
menu
gone.
It just disappears. What's interesting is you pull out the SIM card, it reappears after you restart it. You put the SIM card back in, it goes away.
Ah.
I've been on the phone with AT&T, Google. Nexus.
Well, guess who's doing it?
Well, I think it's AT&T.
Of course it is.
But Google, but why would it happen right after the update was to 4.4?
Well, first of all, remember the update to 4.4, if you have an AT&T version of the Nexus 7, comes from AT&T, goes through AT&T as the gatekeeper. So it's look, these companies want to charge you for hotspot and tethering, right?
Well, I don't know. I just got a regular data plan, and I haven't used that much, like 2 gigabytes in a month. It wasn't hardly anything, but I just noticed it disappeared after I did that update. And I'd like to get it back, but everything you read on the internet, everyone wants to do something called rooting, going back to 4.
No, yeah. Don't go backwards. apparently this happened with T-Mobile too.
Yeah, I've read a little bit about it, but I haven't found a solution, and it's frustrating. So I'm hoping it comes back because that's a really nice little function to have. Somebody else can be on a laptop as we're going down the road.
I love it. In fact, a lot of people use the iPad that way because it'll go. You turn off the screen, it'll go for 24 hours as a wireless access spot, Wi-Fi access spot.
Right.
So that's interesting.
So you haven't heard about it? No, don't know of any magic solution as of yet. Then it doesn't sound like.
I'm looking at all the same solutions you are that generally require rooting or something more sophisticated. Nothing wrong, by the way, with rooting. But I wonder what's going on, and I suspect it has to do with AT&T and apparently T-Mobile as well. But I don't know. I don't know.
I even went back to the AT&T store. The guy says, well, I'll give you a new SIM card. He reactivated a new SIM card, and it still didn't work.
Huh. So they don't know about it.
No, the guys at the store, the people on the customer service 800 line, I can't get any answers. So
well, let me give you one possible easy workaround. This comes from our chat room. There's a file explorer program. It's kind of like a way of looking at your files called ES File Explorer Manager. I really like it. It's a nice little one. Apparently, it has tethering and hotspotting built in.
Okay.
So it will. I mean, you still have to launch this app instead of.
Right.
But it's a great app.
Well, is it something I get at Google Play then?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
ES File Explorer. It's not there's no hack involved. Okay. It's just an app.
Yeah, well, I don't want to do any of the hacking, so I just want it to work.
Yeah, this will do that. Apparently, KitKat added a programmer interface, an API that allows the carriers to disable this, and so as soon as they could, they did. But you can get around that. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. I love it. Nathan Staten, our musical director, he comes up with the greatest stuff. Thank you, Nathan. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the number. You'll be talking to the phone ranger, Heather Hammond. And then, God and Heather willing, you'll be speaking to me on the, on the phone.
But you're God.
Oh, well, all right. If you want to, lowercase g. If you want to put it that way. Ronnie is in Los Angeles. Hey, Ronnie, Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
How are you, Leo? It's a pleasure to speak to you. Been listening a long time, never had the opportunity to call.
Well, welcome. Thanks for calling.
Happy holidays. Just have a quick question. Hopefully I can make it as simple as possible in explaining. But I have an iPhone 5, and I had a problem with the wireless hotspot working. And the guy from Verizon said, you need to download this to iTunes so you have a backup. And going and restoring, it requires a password. And I heard that that's a restriction by my company. I've tried I forgot.
You don't know your password?
I'm sorry?
You don't know your password?
No, I know my password, and I've entered it. And I've entered several passwords. And I went to the...
Who set the password? Who set the password? You?
No.
Your company?
I believe it's set by my company.
So let me get what you're talking about. This is not the password to unlock the iPhone.
Correct.
You have, I would guess now, encrypted backups, and those are password protected. Is that what you're saying?
That must be what it is. I can't.
Is the password the same? It should be the same as your login to your computer.
As a login to my computer. I haven't tried that one.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Okay, because it's on a company computer.
Yeah, so if you are, when you turn on the computer, and it requires you to log in, right?
Yes, it requires me to log in.
So that is generally, the login is the same as the password to your encrypted password store. And so usually, unless you set a different one, and if your company did it and they did set a different one, then you're going to have to get it from them because there's no other way around it.
Okay.
But I would try your login for your computer. Usually it's the same.
Okay, I'll give that a shot. I haven't tried that one.
Yeah. And so then what you'll do is then you'll back up your iPhone. And there are other ways to do this. You can back up an iPhone via Wi-Fi, via the iCloud, or Direct Connect. Direct Connect's the fastest. That's connecting it to iTunes and saying back up this phone. And then you can, I gather that what is going on here is that the Genius is telling you need to restore your phone, start over, reset your phone, and then restore your data afterwards. And so I would follow his instructions. I think he probably knows better than I what's going on with the phone. I'm not sure. Hey, I tried, by the way, for our previous caller, who couldn't get tethering working on his Nexus 7. I did try ES File Explorer on my Moto X, and it's kind of cool. It does have tethering built in. So I think what happened here is that Google, and this may be why Verizon didn't carry a Nexus 7 until KitKat came out. Google added a capability into the current version of Android that lets the carriers disable hotspot and tethering. Now, why would Google do that? Well, Google would love the carriers to push these updates faster. Notice KitKat came out fast on a lot of phones. So maybe that was the quid pro quo, the tit for tat. I give you this, you give me that the Google made with the phone companies. I'll tell you what, if you roll out KitKat faster, if you get the latest version of Android out faster, we would appreciate it. And in a token of our appreciation, we will be glad to let you disable tethering. See, they don't want you to do tethering because basically then you're using the phone company as an ISP and using more data than you would otherwise. In fact, our caller really pinpointed. He said, I hardly ever use the data on my phone, but I want to use it on my laptop. Well, that's the thing. Suddenly you'll be using a lot of that phone data, and they count on you using less than you pay for. The whole thing is, they figured it all out. So ES File Explorer is a very good solution until it's not, until the phone company figures this out. It's free. Download it from the Play Store, ES File Explorer. And then you go into Tools, and inside Tools there's Net Manager. And inside Net Manager there's a menu command, Create a Hotspot Network. Now, I don't know if it does tethering as well, but it does do hotspot. Hotspot's easier. Hotspot doesn't require a wire. So in both cases, you're using the internet access on the phone for another device. If you're tethering, that device is connected to the phone. If you're hotspotting, your phone turns into a wireless access point, a Wi-Fi wireless access point. Good solution. ES File Explorer. That's free. Hank's in Westchester, Pennsylvania. Hi, Hank. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hey, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
You sound pretty good on a 1946 Stuart Warner 9001.
Now, is this the same original guts from 1946, or did you update it?
The only thing I did was put some new capacitors or condensers and resistors and a few new tubes.
That is so awesome. Where do you get the tubes?
Mail order from the Antique Wireless Association.
And do you sell these, or you just did it for yourself?
This is one of the few radios that I collected for when I was 17. An old lady next door to me died, and I thought, geez, this looks nifty. What is it? I tried to open up one of the drawers. It turned out to be a radio.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
And they have those speakers sound good.
Like I said once before, you sound almost as good as I do.
What can I do for you, Hank?
Hey, Leo, a couple things here that's come to my mind. Did you say that the iPhone can become a wireless hotspot? A hotspot?
Yes.
Detector? Is that to say it's like a repeater?
Well, okay. So detector is different than repeater, but it can be a wireless hotspot. Your carrier has to allow it. Sometimes you'll have to pay extra. It depends on the carrier. And then in the settings, yes, you could turn on the hotspot. And what it does is it looks like a Wi-Fi access point.
Okay, great. Very good.
Very nice.
I wanted to get the ham radio terms.
Yes.
Leo, I'm also a photographer. I have used exclusively Sony cameras since I got into digital photography in 2006.
Awesome.
And even my first point and shoot, which is a DSC H2 Hotel 2, which I bought for $400 at a big box store or something like that. Had video back then. It never made any sense to me why the DSLRs never did, but nonetheless.
They do now. They all do now.
Yeah, they do now.
Yeah.
Now, effectively 8 years later.
Yeah.
Sony, I swear by Sony products because their sensors are much better and the advanced SLR mechanisms and what have you are much superior, in my estimation, to that of Canon, Nikon, or any other camera for that matter. That's a selfish opinion.
We use, it's funny because we use Canon cameras in the studio, and we have a Sony EX1, which is a very nice prosumer camcorder. You can't mix them. That's the real issue. Is that the color's different on them, so it's really hard to color correct.
I see your point, but to the naked eye, and I've suffered with cataracts. So even with cataracts as a photographer, I couldn't tell the difference, nor could anyone else.
Yeah. All right.
Cataracts were an asset to me at the time.
Yeah.
The initial reason I called was to ask you whatever happened to LimeWire, and
they got sued out of existence.
Okay, so they're no longer around.
No longer around.
And any other firm of that ilk or nature?
Well, understand why LimeWire is dead, because people used it to share music illegally, according to the record industry. And so the record industry sued them, won in court, and LimeWire was blocked forever.
Right. Okay.
And that happened in 2010.
Okay, it was only 4 years
Yeah, it wasn't that long ago.
Yeah.
So, but piracy has never ended. And, of course, BitTorrent is now the piracy technology of choice.
I see.
And the record companies really can't do much about it because it's like weeds. You chop one down and four pop up.
Yeah, even Roundup won't help out.
But I think the other thing that's put that's right. The other thing that's put these out of business is companies like Spotify, Google Music, Amazon Music, and Apple's radio. A lot of these companies have $10 a month subscriptions that you can get any song ever published and listen to it. Now, you have to continue to pay for the subscription. You don't own the song. But for a lot of the people, the kids primarily who used LimeWire, Spotify has really replaced it.
It seems to me for when I like to enjoy music, it's the obscure stuff that you and I grew up with.
I agree, and you can't get that. And that was one thing that Napster and then LimeWire and others were really great for, is just weird old music.
Yeah, the case in point, shaving cream.
Now, I'll have to check Spotify to see if they have shaving cream. I know the Dr. Demento collection will.
I'll leave you with this word of advice from a barber. There's no sense in getting lathered up if you're not going to shave.
I love it. Thank you, Hank. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Good advice. Shaving cream. Be nice and clean. Yeah, and LimeWire was just any time I saw a computer with LimeWire on it, I just knew there'd be viruses on it. I just knew it. That was the best way to propagate viruses. My kids kept installing it. I kept removing it, yelling at them, and I gave them music allowances because I wanted them to buy music. I said, "You got to buy it. You can't use LimeWire," but they still did. They still did. Hey, our show today brought to you by Hulu Plus. For $7.99 a month, you get unlimited video, catch up on old TV shows, watch your favorite shows anytime, anywhere. Jimmy Kimmel Live, Shark Tank, Family Guy, Saturday Night Live. You can watch every episode of shows like Lost, Doctor Who, Community, Star Trek. They have Hulu Plus Originals. I'm really interested in this Behind the Mask, which is the story of sport mascots. What a life they lead, huh? Hulu Plus on your computer, on your tablet. Here it is on my iPad. Really turns the iPad into what it wants to be, which is a personal television. I should dim this down a little bit, huh? It's a little bright. You can see a little bit better. I'm a big fan. And so much so that we've arranged a 2-week free trials and make it very easy. You know, I love The Daily Show. And I wish I could, I try to see it, but I miss it all the time. So Hulu Plus is great because I can watch The Daily Show. I can catch up. And same thing with Saturday Night Live. I can watch the most popular clips. All of this is great. And, of course, wonderful shows. I'm a big Family Guy fan. Try it, won't you? For 2 weeks, huluplus.com/twit. Oh, Kingdom was great. That's Stephen Fry's show. So this is a British show.
Ooh, I don't know that one.
Oh, yeah, no, great show. Love that.
Do you think Stewie will build the time machine again and go back and get
I
Brian?
think Stewie has to. Yeah. I think that, we've really been debating this in our household. Is Brian dead? I think he's coming back.
kind of think so.
Get
too.
Hulu Plus now, and when all the family comes over for the holidays, you'll have lots of stuff to watch. Hulu free for the next 2 weeks, right through Christmas. HuluPlus.com/twit. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. Time to talk about computers, the internet, cell phones, home theater, and all that jazz. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the phone number. 888-827-5536. Toll free from anywhere in the U.S. Our website is techguylabs.com. You can join us there as well. In fact, that's a good place to know about. If you hear me mention something, we'll put the links there on the website so you don't have to memorize or write anything down as you're listening to the show. Just all you have to remember is techguylabs.com. Audio and video of the show is posted after the fact, and your comments too. So if you've got something to add, something to say, please do it in the comments. It'll make it much more valuable. I really appreciate it. techguylabs.com. I know. We were talking about during the break. Heather Hammond, the phone ranger, and I were talking about Facebook. Something's going on with Facebook. Now, I imagine most of you have Facebook accounts and use Facebook. When Twitter announced it was going to go public, and they had their IPO, their initial public offering, one of the selling points, one of the reasons their IPO was so successful, much more successful than Facebook's actually, was that Twitter could reasonably say, this is how people get news today. They get it from Twitter. And I have to say, if there's something happens and I want to know, did something just happen? I'll go to my Twitter feed and boy, I'll know if something happened. And I think Facebook's a little, jealous. Facebook seems to be that way in general. When somebody does something cool, Facebook immediately responds. When Snapchat came out, Facebook added that capability to their poke. In fact, the founder of Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg, quite famously, wrote the code for that in a couple of nights. They bought Instagram when they couldn't duplicate it. So Facebook seems to run that way. Kind of paranoid. Oh, we better do that. So Facebook's response to the success of Twitter was to change the news feed to be more newsy. Has it worked? Both Heather and I agree we don't look at Facebook as much as we used to. I want to see more of my friends and what they're up to. And Facebook, and they don't tell you how they do this, but they determine what's in your news feed. And they move some stuff up and some stuff down. Some stuff your friends say never shows up there. Never. You have to go to their page. And I just think that this is a mistake. I don't think that's why people use Facebook. And Specie in our chat room points out, hey, Twitter's never made any money. Facebook has. Facebook makes hundreds of millions of dollars a year. Twitter, zero. Big bird's egg. It ain't about money. It's about mind share. It's about what people are saying, the buzz. And that makes it even simpler, stupider, sillier. Anyway, I feel like we're ripe for something new. Does that feel that way to you? The kids started using Vine. So Instagram, which Facebook owns, added video immediately as a response. The kids were using Instagram. I don't know if they still are. They were using Facebook. I know they're kind of backing off on that. Now, kids now use Twitter a lot. Everybody wants to know what the kids use. That's the future, right? I like Google Plus, but nobody uses that. Somebody once said Google Plus is the best social network for keeping up with your friends who work at Google. I like Google Plus. But there's nothing quite right yet. We shall see. Maybe it's our chat room. You can get in there by going to techguylabs.com. Scott's on the line from Rialto, California, our next caller. Hi, Scott.
Hi. Hey, thanks for taking my question.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Hey, I got a Dimensions 2400, and I don't want to dump it just because XP is kind of, disappearing. But I go back and forth from Internet Explorer to Chrome, and when I use Chrome, well, even Internet Explorer, it takes forever to load up.
Yeah. Well, first of all, it's a 10-year-old machine, at
or
least.
Is that
right?
because of my computer?
Well, it's a little bit of everything. It's not you. Why would you blame yourself? It's XP or it's your computer. You know, one way to find out is to start over. I bet you've never reinstalled XP on that system.
No.
Do you have the recovery disks that came with the Dell?
Yeah.
Yeah. So back up your data. Make sure you got a good backup before you do this, because you'll be wiping the drive. And wipe the drive and reinstall from those recovery disks. Now, you're going to have to go through some downloads because you've got to update. You'll be getting the service pack, the latest service pack. What is that, 3? And then you'll be adding any of it might take you a few restarts and so forth. But then I think you'll notice immediately that XP runs better.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
There's certainly things you could do. You could add memory. You could put it in a faster hard drive. But it really doesn't make sense to update that computer too much. I mean, part of it is it's just older technology. Is it a core processor? What's in there?
It's a Pentium 4.
Pentium 4, yeah. See, the problem is if you were doing the same things you did when that computer came out, it'd be operating close to the same speed. But we're using more modern stuff. Chrome's a heavier browser. Internet Explorer is a heavier browser than it was 10, 15 years ago.
What does that mean?
Well, it's bigger, slower, it's doing more. The web is much more graphical than it was 15 years ago. I mean, all these things have changed, but your operating system hasn't.
Yeah, well, all I do is maybe do some online banking anymore anyways.
Right. Well, what I would do, that's another reason why you might want to change from XP. You know that in March, Microsoft will no longer offer security updates for XP.
Oh, okay.
So it's going to start being vulnerable. That's the time when you either want to get a copy, let's say, of Windows 7, which, by the way, will run better than XP on that machine.
Okay.
And you can still buy it, and I would buy it now because you're not going to be able to buy it much longer. Or put a version of Linux on there, which is initially going to be a little bit weird, but it is much more secure, and it will run much better. Do you know how much RAM there is in that?
Not anymore.
Yeah. Probably 512 megs. That's the problem. Everything's moved on. How old is that machine? It's 15 years old.
Well, I got it back in 03.
Oh, that's not that bad. Only 10 years old.
Yeah.
But here's the irony of it. And it's kind of a problem in the computer industry. That machine's not worn out. Nothing wrong with the hardware. It's not like a truck. It's not worn out. But
I know that's why I don't want to.
I know. It seems crazy to scrap it. But unfortunately, the operating system is older. And the processor's older. And you don't have enough memory in it. The hard drive is slow. So all of those things are going to mean that when you do modern operations, it's not keeping up. I think you could get a big benefit by just recovering it from those recovery disks.
And the reason why I can't, it doesn't give me some updates where it says the update can't be downloaded.
Oh, now it becomes imperative that you do a recovery because that means you're vulnerable. As soon as those updates are not being installed, which they're not because something got stuck, every time that update comes out, the bad guys take it apart, figure out what the problem is that it's fixing, and attack your system. So I would absolutely, today, I would get those recovery disks. I would back up your data. Do you have the applications?
I'm not talking to a tech here. I just...
No, I understand. I understand.
No, I've even got the external hard drive that I don't even know if it backs it up automatically anymore.
Yeah. So it's probably worth spending a little energy to figure out what's going on. It might... a modern computer will be literally 10 times faster.
Now it's a question of it's a PC or a tablet, right?
Yeah, that's right. And if you're saying you do banking, what program do you do your banking with?
What do you mean?
Just the browser?
Yes.
Oh, well, then you could use anything for that. Yeah, a tablet would be fine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you might want to look at a tablet, frankly.
Well, I like the monitor, though.
Yeah, you want a big monitor. Yeah.
Did you sitting and looking at the monitor? My kids they have the tablets or the notebooks and things.
Are any of your kids computer savvy?
My daughter.
Yeah, say, hey kid, come here.
No.
Time to upgrade Dad's computer.
Right.
Ask for it for Christmas. That'd be a good Christmas gift. Fix Dad's computer. Yeah, I think it's time. You got to do something. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Chromebook might be a good choice, but he wants a big screen. It's got a Dell Dimension. That's a big computer. Chromebook is a good choice for something like that, but it's not big enough screen.
Here they come.
Actually, you could get a Chrome box, right? And then, you know what? He could do that. Schools still sell those. Jeff, Woodland Hills, Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Jeff.
Hi, Leo. How you doing today?
I'm well. How are you?
Okay. Listen, it's a problem I'm having at work with these fillable PDF forms. I'm on a Mac, and my boss is on Windows, of course. I'm on Mavericks. He's on Windows 8, and we just move documents back and forth in a shared Dropbox folder.
Yeah.
The problem is these fillable PDF forms. I do it, and I use Preview, of course. Everything looks beautiful. Everything looks good. I could even give you one of the websites. It's the California Court Judicial Forms. It's a form that everybody has to use.
But what you're saying is that it renders differently on your Mac than on his PC?
Correct. It looks beautiful on my Mac. I could print it. I could save it.
It's previewed. It doesn't. It's doing something differently.
Okay.
So there's a couple of things you can do. You can get Adobe Reader, and then you'll be using the same thing with the bosses.
Do I need Acrobat Pro, or is Reader enough?
These are fillable forms, right? You're downloading them as fillable forms?
Correct.
Then Reader will work.
Okay.
The other one that I like a lot that isn't free but is a great, powerful program for the Mac, if you do a lot of PDFing, is PDF Pen from Smile Software. Their sponsor, I should mention that, of some of our podcasts. And it will create forms out of existing documents. It does just so much. There's a free trial. You can see if it will give you the results you want. I hate to recommend Adobe Reader, alas, but unfortunately, in this case, that's probably what you need.
You see, I can save it as export as PDF, and he could read it beautifully then, but then he can't edit it.
Yeah, because you've changed it. The Preview doesn't do forms right.
Right.
It's a known problem.
Okay, so the best thing for now in 2013, 2014 is something like
Adobe Reader's free. It's the same thing he's using, right? So it will work. And I'm not crazy about it because Adobe has been very bad about security and so forth, and so as a result, you have to keep it up to date. It's not a problem on the Mac, to be honest. It's more of a problem on Windows. But there you go. I just hate recommending it because of the problems it's had on Windows. It's fine on the Mac.
That and the PDF Pen. The other thing I tried was something called PDF Escape on the web, and that gave me the same Preview Adobe problem.
Yeah. Go Adobe, and everything will work fine.
Okay, well, thank you much.
You're welcome.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. Cassidy in Norco, California. Hi, Cassidy. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hello.
Hey, Cassidy. Welcome to the show.
I'm sorry, hello?
Hello, Cassidy. Welcome to the show.
Hi. I have a question for you. I just bought I've been looking for a low-end tablet. Not low-end, but low price anyway.
Yeah.
Best Buy had the Microsoft Surface RT for Black Friday, and I picked one of those up. And I don't like it. I don't like the Microsoft, the whole Windows RT thing is just weird. I need something that's Android.
Yeah, well, good. You got lots of low-cost choices. My favorite Android tablet is only 7 inches, is the Nexus 7. Is that okay?
I'm looking for a 10-inch, and
So there's an interesting thing, because the Nexus 10 is a year old. It's as old as the Nexus 7, and it hasn't been updated. And I keep thinking that Google's got to be ready to update this thing. But they didn't ship it, so I guess they would have shipped it by now. So I guess no update for the Nexus 10.
They would have had it out already.
Yeah, I was sure they would. I love the Nexus 10. The old one is fine, and it's inexpensive. There are some good Android tablets from other manufacturers, Asus, Acer, Lenovo. A lot of folks now make Android tablets.
I was looking at the Samsung Galaxy Tab 3, the 10-inch.
Love it.
But I've heard that it only has 1 gig of RAM, and that it can't play Flash, and that
nothing's going to play Flash for you. Flash is dead on mobile.
Oh, okay.
Period. Apple put the nail in the coffin, but Android buried it. Actually, Adobe buried it, saying we're not going to develop it for mobile anymore.
So that's a pretty good one then?
Oh, it's excellent. I love the Samsungs. Any of the Galaxies would be Galaxy Notes, or Galaxy Tabs would be fine. The Notes have styluses if you want them, but I think the Tabs are excellent.
Okay, I just heard a couple of people said that they weren't all that great. They didn't change it very much with Tab 2. And
yeah, but it's cheap.
It wasn't very good.
I like it. I mean, I'm not crazy about what Samsung puts on there for software. On the other hand, there's some cool things. You can do windowing. I wish Google had updated the Nexus 10. I don't understand why they didn't. The Nexus 7, the new one that came out this year, is really great. Really love it. And it's, boy, what a great screen. It's a very high resolution screen. Actually, the old Nexus 10 is also very high resolution. For people who are not stuck in the Apple ecoverse, they're not using iTunes and they haven't downloaded a lot of Apple apps and so forth, I really think Android tablets are every bit as good, in many cases better. They're certainly a better value. But Apple's got a lot of people locked in because they bought apps. They want to use apps that are on the iPad. And they're not yet on Android, or they don't want to rebuy them, things like that. Somebody mentions the Asus Memo 10-inch. Web839 likes that in our chat room. It's $260. I'd be really careful on no-name Android tablets. There are a lot of Chinese companies that make very cheap $100 Android tablets that are junk. Look at the screen and make sure it's a good screen. If it's not a good screen, don't buy it. That's where they save money. If the screen looks good, usually you're getting what you paid for. I don't like Pantech. That's another very low cost. Stick with Samsung. Stick with big name brands. Google, of course. And I think you'll be very happy. I don't think there's any reason to avoid Android tablets. I love them. 8888 ask Leo. Oh, yeah, and that's a good point. If you buy a cheap Android tablet and it doesn't have the Play Store on it, you're really out of luck. That means they're not officially, they didn't do a deal with Google, and so they can't put the Google apps on there. I suspect that the Nexus 10 will come out next year. Why wouldn't it? Just not in time for the holiday this year. 8888 ask Leo. Somebody says he saw a Pantech for sale at the grocery store. That's a sign. Don't buy it. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Don't buy a tablet or an encyclopedia at the grocery store. Oh, good. Can't wait to see your Warbies. If it is time to get a new tablet, maybe it's time to sell the old tablet. And to do that, you got to go to, everybody say it with me, Gazelle. Gazelle, the best place to sell your iPhone, your iPad, your Macintosh, your Surface, your Galaxy. There's so many. They'll buy a lot. Well, just look at the tablets, okay? You could sell last year's Nexus 7 and get this year's Nexus 7. Sell last year's Nexus 10. What is a Nexus 10 out of curiosity? What is a Nexus 10 worth? $124. That's not bad. That's not bad. Yes, that's it. So when you get it, people go, okay, yeah, but what's the catch? No, that's it. They'll give you a check for $124 when you send them your Nexus 10. I mean, it's that simple. Sell your iPhone for cash. Do you have an iPhone 5 and you want to get the new one? Let's see. I have my AT&T 32 gig iPhone 5, $205 in good condition, not flawless. They even buy broken or cracked iPhones. Gazelle. Now, how does it work? Okay, so first of all, get the quote. The quote's good for 30 days. You're locked in. You don't have to send it to them right away. You can wait 30 days. That means you can get a quote now and wait to see if the Nexus 10 comes out. It's good to do that because, the prices go down on these things. They don't ever go up. They don't ever go up. So get the quote as soon as you can. And if they announce the Nexus 10 in the next month, you'll be ready. And if they don't, no big deal. You have no obligation. The quote is good for 30 days. Now, once you've got that, get a bunch of other things because they're going to pay the postage on anything worth more than $1. You could sell your Samsung, Nokia. Yeah, you got a Galaxy S3 you want to get rid of? Sure, they'll buy that. They'll buy the old Focus. Remember that? I have one of those lying around, the old Windows Phone. Galaxy S3. Let's see what my Galaxy S3 is worth. It's in good condition. $120. I love that. Combine them all into a box. They pay the postage. Then they send you a check, a PayPal, or if you buy a lot of stuff on Amazon, I'd get the Amazon gift card because they add 5% to the value on that. 1 million gadgets have been traded in at Gazelle.com. They paid over $100 million to over 700,000 customers. Gazelle is awesome. Try it today. Gazelle.com. Clear out that junk drawer. Get some cash for the new stuff. Better than recycling. Sell it at Gazelle. We're going to do what? We're doing 24 hours of New Year's. It's not going to be on the radio, though, because the New Year's Eve is a Tuesday, and I won't be on the radio on Tuesday. But a week from, is it a week or 2 weeks from Tuesday, starting at 4 a.m. Pacific, 7 a.m. Eastern Time. You can come and be part of this if you want, Heather. No. 4 a.m. Pacific Time, New Year's Eve, and then to 4 a.m. Pacific Time, New Year's Day, 24 hours. And the reason we're doing this is because my podcast network, we have about 35 shows. We have millions of listeners, and more than a third of them are outside the U.S. And I thought, wait a minute, I felt bad this last New Year's Eve because, on the TV, you're watching New York's New Year's Eve. Here we are on the West Coast. It's 3 hours earlier, and by 9 o'clock, you're done. That's not New Year's Eve. I suppose I could have gone to a party, but I was in my jammies. So I thought, well, this year what I'm going to do is I'm going to start celebrating New Year's Eve in Papua New Guinea at 4 a.m. Pacific Time. And we're just, every hour, we're going to do a countdown somewhere in the world. And believe it or not, we've lined up callers from almost every time zone. There are, I think, 27 different time zones. Some of them are on the half hour. And we've got somebody, I think, in almost all the time zones. We're missing some of Russia. Russia's got a lot of time zones. I'm excited. I will be exhausted. But it'll be fun. New Year's Eve. You want to watch that. If you're around New Year's Eve and early New Year's Day, twit.tv is the website. TWIT stands for This Week in Tech.tv. Bill is in the Palm Desert. Hello, Bill. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hello, Leo. Thanks for taking my call. I just bought a Dell Alienware computer, which I love.
They're beautiful, aren't they? Yeah.
Yeah, they're great. But I get this pop-up, mypcbackup.com. I'm trying to get rid of it.
mypcbackup.com. So did you go to Programs and Features and try to uninstall it?
Yeah, I did. It still keeps on popping.
Oh, I hate that. Yeah. So you would think, given what you paid for that Alienware, that Dell wouldn't load it up with all this trialware, but that's one of the pieces of trialware they load up. You can actually pay them, I think, for future reference. I think they charge you like $50 more, and they won't put any crap on it.
Oh, really?
So normally you can uninstall these things. So it's become My PC Backup.
Yeah, and it's just this notice keeps on coming on. You could back up your computer, but I have.
And you didn't install this. This is something that came with your.
Yeah, I think it just popped up after I bought it.
I'm pretty sure that's something that came with the Dell, right?
Yeah.
Because these guys, the way they make a little extra money is by putting all this trialware on here. So I don't know. Let's see. You've gone to the control panel and did you find My PC Backup to uninstall it?
I tried to uninstall it before, and I just deleted it.
Yeah, no, don't do that. That's not going to uninstall it. In fact, that may actually make it hard to uninstall it now. A lot of times people uninstall stuff. All right, so there's a couple of things you can do. There is, in response to this, and I think it's primarily to Dell, there is a website. Can I say this out loud? I don't know if I can. PCG Junkifier. Well, it's not quite right. PCD Crapifier is what it's called. And it's at PCDECRAPIFIER.com. And it was originally designed for Dells, but now I think it does a lot of different computers. It removes all that junkware that gets installed on your computer.
Oh, okay.
So that would be one thing to do. Don't ever just delete a file, because then the uninstallers often won't work So I would at this point you might have hurt yourself more than helped yourself. The best way to uninstall anything is to go to the control panel. It's probably a Windows 8 machine, right? Windows 8?
Yes,
yeah.
Windows 8.
They've got some new name for the control panel for uninstalling. It used to be programs and features. I don't know what they call it now. used to be add remove programs. Now it's program. Then Windows 7 is programs and features. Who knows what Microsoft calls it now? Why do they do that? Why do they do that? There's no reason. It just makes it hard to find. If you can restore it back, I would, and then uninstall it. Is it still programs, features, and Windows 8? All right. So look in your control panel if you can find that, and programs and features, and uninstall it. Windows key X. They're telling me Windows key X is the magic keystroke in Windows 8. If it came with the Dell, it should have an uninstall program, so you can go manually through all of them and uninstall them. I would also, this wouldn't be a bad time to call Dell and make sure that did come with a computer. What happens with malware is sometimes they impersonate stuff that's already on your system. Windows X is the magic key for, I guess that launches the control panel. I've got so much to learn when it comes to Windows 8. Andy in Lake Forest, California. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hi, Leo. Thank you for taking my call.
Thanks for calling, Andy.
Question. I just purchased a new HP Envy laptop computer where I had an option to having the AC wireless in it instead of
cool.
BGN.
Yeah.
It took me some time to find the information about what speed it actually was, though, and then I found out that I think the chip that comes with it says it goes up to 867 megabytes.
That's meaningless. You're never going to get that.
Yeah, so my question is, there's all these different Netgear and Linksys routers up there. There's the E6900. You pay like another $70, $80.
Yeah, AC routers are going to be more expensive because that's the newest version of 802.11. We've had A, B, G, and we're currently on N. And AC is going to be the next one. Yeah.
So is there any reason? I just went ahead and purchased a Linksys E63.
I think it's fine to use a cheap non-AC router for now. You'll get some benefit. The problem is mostly what you're using it for is internet access, right?
Yes.
Yeah, your internet's not going to get faster. So an N router is already faster than your internet. So the only benefit for AC is if you have AC router, AC computer, another AC computer, it'll be faster to connect within the network and transfer files. There's no benefit for internet access. It's faster than you need for internet access.
Yeah, I use cable internet. I get about 50 to 60 megabytes per second.
802.11n is plenty fast for that.
Interesting.
So AC is only of benefit for in-network transfers right now, and everything has to be AC to get that benefit. There's another side effect, and I bet you anything that this HP Envy does not do this. They put AC. It's feature bloat. They put AC on it so you get the checklist, right? Oh, it's got AC. There are some features of AC that are going to be very good. 802.11 AC is the next generation of Wi-Fi. It hasn't even been approved yet, by the way. It will be approved sometime in 2014. And it'll, this happens. You get a draft standard, and eventually they approve it. One of the things it does is beam forming. Now, yours probably won't do that, but high-end AC will actually aim at the device for improved reception. Your Envy won't do that, I doubt it. 8888 Ask Leo. The Gizwiz, our gadget guy, right after this. How much would you be willing to pay, Dick, for the...
Boy, I'm going to say $24.99.
Close. It's $29.99.
Okay.
$30. Okay. But this is solid. This is not, some of the bobbleheads are like hollow plastic. This really is it's like a sculpture. This is solid. It's quite heavy.
Wow.
And of course, because of the limited edition, it's going to be even more valuable. There's only 250 of them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. Final segment of the Tech Guy show for today at about 15 minutes to the hour. It usually means it's time to say hello to our gadget guru, Dick DeBartolo, Mad Magazine's maddest writer, and our little Gizwiz. Hello, Dickie D.
How are you?
I'm very well. Are you getting snow in Manhattan? I saw we were going to get 3 feet in Boston.
Oh, no, we're only got 3 to 6 inches, but after midnight, it's supposed to turn to rain.
So I hate that.
Yeah, it's going to be a big, ugly mess.
Slush.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, don't like slush. No. So that means if you're probably going to go to the gadget warehouse, you're going to make one trip today and bring an armload of stuff back.
Yeah, now I got to wait till Monday.
Oh.
I don't want to go slipping and sliding.
Slipping and sliding. Well, what do you got for us then?
Well, you and I, we both have lots of drop cams. But I'm not sure. I think you said you were going to order one, but I already have a Drop Cam Pro.
I love these.
Yeah, so this is now a 6-element all-glass lens, which Drop Cam says is the first in the home monitoring category.
We use Drop Cams because they're Wi-Fi enabled spy cameras. All you have to do is plug them in. They use Wi-Fi. They do need power.
They do need power, exactly.
And they upload the images, including video recording, to the DropCam site. You can pay a monthly fee, and you can go back in time, which is kind of fun.
Yeah, exactly. So if you don't want it, you can watch your DropCam output on any phone, Android or iOS. That's free, but you're correct. If you want recording, there's an optional plan for that. And the new one is $199. So it's 20-degree wider view, which is good for if you're monitoring a room. You can really see the entire
It's very wide. It's almost
room.
a fisheye, yeah.
Exactly. Built-in microphone, built-in ability to talk back and forth through the drop cam.
That's really weird. So you can say, hey, you, get your hands off of that.
Yeah, exactly. And then 5 minutes later, he'll say, no.
There is a little latency. Yeah, it's a few seconds. Yeah.
How far away are you?
Yeah, I'm not. I'm in Paramus.
And it even has Bluetooth. So if you're setting up like on an iOS device, you don't need the computer. You could set it directly up from your iPad.
So we've had all the versions of the DropCam in our studio. We have, if you go to twit.tv/DropCam, you can actually see the HD, the original DropCam, and now the DropCam Pro in action. I even have one.
Yeah, I have them on my website too. I have them side by side. I have the regular DropCam.
What's your website?
Just go to gizwiz.biz and click on Tech Guy Lab, and both the DropCams are right there under the picture of the DropCam.
Oh, all right. So we can see a comparison.
You can, and you'll see no Myra, who is afraid of the snow.
She didn't come to visit the Disneyland studios today. So the Pro, and it's only on Tuesdays and Saturdays while you're broadcasting.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a pretty good view, though. Boy, does that look good. Yeah.
Isn't that neat?
Yeah. That's kind of neat. So gizwiz.biz, click on the Tech Guy link, and you'll see, if you scroll down, notes about this product, but also links to Dick's cameras. He's got one on his. In fact, I think it's the most viewed drop cam of all time on your boat out in the marina.
It is, only because it was on and stayed on during most of Hurricane Sandy. So it was more than 70,000 people during the day watched the hurricane through my drop cam.
While you're there at gizwiz.biz, do play the What the Heck Is It game.
Yeah.
Because you'll have a chance to win an autographed copy of Mad Magazine, autographed by this guy right here, Dickie D. And all you have to do is name a close-up. He has a close-up picture of some gadget. If you figure out what it is. Oh, he's waving at us now on his drop cam 5 seconds ago.
Yes, that's about what it was.
Yeah,
right?
That's not bad. I mean, you don't expect these things to be instant. It's got to compress it. It's got to send it out over the internet and all of that.
And, I just want to throw in a plug, if it's okay, for Dick's Mad Auction. I did find a box of the hardcover version of Good Days and Mad, which I thought didn't exist. So I put them up for people you don't care about and want to send something
I
back.
have Good Days and Mad autographed by you.
You do, and you have the hardcover.
Yeah, I love that. So where can I find that? Is that on the website?
DicksMadAuction.com.
Dick's Mad Auction.
Auction.com. And it goes to eBay. Thank you.
It supports impecunious Mad
if I sell every one of the 24 copies, I will have paid warehouse rent for 2 months.
And they've been in the warehouse. It's expensive storing old gadgets.
It really is. As I always say, it's the stupidest thing I ever did. I'm in for almost $95,000.
What?
Had it for more than 20 years.
Oh, man. Don't think of it that way.
No, I don't think of it that way. I think of it as preserving crap for posterity.
There you go.
There you go. There you go.
Thank goodness you're doing it. Stay tuned after the radio show.
I didn't buy a house to make a warehouse like you did.
You should. See what I did. I bought the house and we loaded it up. We got the brick house here. Stay tuned. The Giz Fizz coming up right after the radio show on the twit.tv podcast network. Bill's in Buena Park, California. Hi, Bill. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Good morning or good afternoon.
You've been on hold a long time, my friend. Thanks for your patience.
No problem. I've got a 35-year-old DOS program.
Okay.
It's a relic.
Yes, it is.
It's populated with a lot of data.
What's the name of the program, out of curiosity?
Q&A.
Oh, what a great database. Gordon Eubanks, Q&A. He did Q&A right. Loved the Q&A database.
Yeah, I do too.
Yep.
I do too. In fact, that's my biggest concern. I'm a lawyer, and I've compiled a law library in that database or in that Word program.
Yeah.
Somebody says if you lose it, you lose all of that stuff.
Well, you got to back it up. That's right. But the real issue is if you're using an old program like Q&A, you have to make sure you don't lose the program. They're not publishing that program anymore, as well as the data. So a backup of your Q&A database, to me, would be not only backing up the native database so that you can open it with Q&A, but also making an export that is readable by other database programs. Do you know how to do that?
No, I know how to back up, but I don't know about the export.
So it'll be in the Q&A menu. I don't remember where it is, but it'll be in the Q&A menus. It'll be something like, it should say export, but it should say export, and then you will see various file formats.
Yeah, I have seen that.
Yeah, CSV is probably the most common. If you export it in CSV, then you can import it into Microsoft Excel or a lot of modern programs. In fact, ultimately, at some point, you might want to, I hate to say it, you might want to update it. But yeah, so that's key, is not merely backing up the file, but kind of planning for the fact that you might lose Q&A. And I don't blame you for using Q&A. It's great. Do you use this in your law office, in your law practice?
Uh-huh.
Oh, my. Yeah, you might want to hire a consultant and have somebody come in and modernize it a little bit.
Yeah.
I hate to say that, but you're running a fairly lucrative business on this. Not to mention your fiduciary responsibility to your
my
clients. I mean, you can't. So I think you probably should. You can. There are lots of people specialize in helping law firms with this kind of stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you'll probably want to move to a more modern database. They can help you make a custom database in Access or FileMaker that'll look the same, actually be more modern, easier to use, and you'll just be safer. So your clients will be happier. Hey, Bill, I appreciate it. Q&A, that was a great program, classic program. But times do change. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. Well, that's it for the Tech Guy Show for today. I'm Leo Laporte. Thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget, the Tech Guy is just the tip of the iceberg. We do nearly 30 shows now on the Twit Netcast Network, and you'll find them all at twit.tv. We talk about Windows on Windows Weekly, Macintosh on MacBreak Weekly, iPad on iPad Today. You get your daily dose of tech news from Tech News Today, and our weekly roundtable show, This Week in Tech. It's all at twit.tv. And I'll be back next time with another great Tech Guy podcast. Thanks for joining me. See you next time.